So, over the last few weeks, I've been playing around with my iPhone 15 Pro Max and I've been getting a lot out of that brand new telephoto 5x zoom, what is built into the camera, what is a first from Apple. But a big question, what came about along the sort of rumour mill over the last year, is that we were possibly going to be getting, say, even a 10x zoom inside this phone. At the end of the day, we have other phones out there like the Galaxy S23 Ultra, for example, and that has a 10x zoom, and its predecessors over the last few years also had a 10x zoom. So why did Apple decide just to put a 5x zoom inside this camera on this phone here? Well, I think I actually have the answer for this, and I want to show you the reasons why in today's video. So going back around about a month ago, it was an iPhone users rejoice moment. We were finally going to be getting a bigger and better zoom capability in the iPhone, and it was a 5x zoom. Now, a lot of us, when we heard that, went, oh, okay, 5x zoom. It's better than the 3x zoom that we have right now, but I was expecting a little bit more. Why haven't we got a 10x zoom, and why haven't we got, say, with the digital time zoom, we can go up to 100 times, just like what Samsung's can do right now? Because at the end of the day, this phone here can only go up to a 25x digital zoom. And that got me thinking, why did Apple decide to do this? Well, the first reason why I believe Apple did this is because of what the iPhone is. Now, the iPhone and its camera is literally a phone that you just pull out of your pocket and start taking photos with it or start recording with it. It doesn't really need anybody with kind of experience, or, you don't need to be a proper camera whiz to operate the camera and the videos on this phone. And I think what Apple wanted to do was keep things simple. At the end of the day, if you can see here, as I zoom up on my phone, I actually have to keep my phone really, really steady, even though I'm at 5x zoom, or even beyond that 5x zoom into that sort of digital sort of crop. And you can see here on the screen that we actually have like a sort of magnifying ability here. It's quite hard to keep my phone stable inside my hands. Now, I believe that, say if Apple put a 10x zoom on this, then obviously you would have to probably mount this phone onto a tripod to actually get a really good clear sort of picture at 10x zoom without everything sort of jigging around. Even if I have my phone right here, my arm is on the desk here, my phone's actually sort of jigging around a little bit here. And to be deadly honest, I would actually count myself as a person who's got very steady hands. But let's say if you're a user who's a little bit more older and your hands are not so much, stable as when you were younger, it's going to be quite hard to keep this phone stable, recording videos and taking pictures. And we all know the result there, if we sort of jigged our phone around and took a picture, what the pictures would end up looking like. So to put this theory to the test, I actually used a Galaxy S23 Ultra, like what I've got right here, and I did have problems. The second that I started going beyond that 10x zoom, what's built into this, I really had to keep my hands steady. And to be deadly honest, I realized quite quickly that the second that I got, say, over 15x zoom, or say even 20x zoom, this needed to be mounted into a tripod to actually get that perfect sort of picture. And I think this is where things come clear here. This is what Apple have realized. Yep, we could bring out a 10x zoom, but it means for our users that they would have to actually probably mount their phone onto a tripod or onto something solid. Like a wall, balance it on something. And they know that that scenario is not going to come along all of the time. So I think with this is probably the first reason why Apple decided not to actually put a bigger sort of zoom capability into their phone. And in fact, I did get some great results. I mounted this phone into a tripod, and you can see here the differences here of me taking a picture, not with a tripod, as you can see. And then this is one of the same area, same sort of picture with a tripod, and you can see I'm getting far better pictures. And the main reason is because my hands are not jigging around holding onto this phone. The next reason is all to do with that digital crop. So as much as I said this one can go up to a 10x zoom and this one can do a 5x zoom on its normal optical zoom capabilities, this phone here can go all the way up to 100x zoom. But if I just show you here some of the pictures that if I took this at, say, 100x zoom, It's just like going back, say, 15 years ago with iPhones of like the first iPhone that came out, and even say Galaxies that first came out, the Galaxy S1 sort of photography that we had. We are way beyond that. Why would I want to have a photo like this with this kind of zoom capability? If I wanted to get a further zoom capability, I would opt for actually getting myself, say, a DSLR with a proper sort of lens kit and actually taking that photo properly. In my opinion, I don't think there's that much need to have that 100 times zoom. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to have it. It's cool to boast to your friends. Mine can go up to 100 times zoom. This one can only go up to a 25 times zoom. Yep, I get it fully, and I fully understand that that's the reason behind it. But to be deadly honest, it's just not that good to go up to 100 times zoom. I do understand that obviously with this phone here, if I took, say, a photo with a 10 times zoom crop holding it in my hand compared to the 10 times sort of digital zoom on this phone, obviously the Galaxy S23 Ultra comes out on top. But I think this is what Apple wanted to do. They didn't want to put a 10 times inside this phone and then limit you, say, up to, say, a 30 times digital zoom, because they know that, say, for example, the Samsung go all the way up to 100 times digital zoom. They wanted to hold back on that reason. And moving on with that, I think this is the other reasons where we have the differences between both of these phones. With the Samsung, for example, Samsung are the pioneers of engineering. They love to get the latest technology, chuck it inside their phones and bring it out. They really push out that, and that, you know, they actually talk about this themselves. They go, we're engineers, we are all about engineering, we're all about putting the latest and greatest inside your phone. And that is a great strategy, and I'm not going to say that is the wrong strategy or the right strategy. In fact, I admire them for them. They push those limits out. But at the end of the day, we do have, say, technology what's been inside this phone for years, like wireless capability, and then it took ages to come over to an iPhone many years ago. And then when Apple actually finally decided to put wireless into the phone a few generations later, they perfected it with, say, MagSafe ability, whereas this phone here, the Galaxy, still uses traditional wireless sort of charging, but this phone here doesn't use that. And this is the thing what Apple likes to do. Again, it's a different approach. They love to get hold of technology what's been established for quite a few years, and then they like to perfect it. And I think this is the same thing what happened with MagSafe, and also I think it's the same thing here what's going on with the optical zoom. They do not want to chuck out a phone there what basically doesn't have the ability to have great photos or anything like that. At the end of the day, Steve Jobs once said this.
Tell you what our goal is. Our goal is to make the best personal computers in the world and to make products we are proud to sell and would recommend to our family and friends. But I have to tell you, there's some stuff in our industry that we wouldn't be proud to ship, that we wouldn't be proud to recommend to our family and friends. And we can't do it. We just can't ship junk. So there are thresholds that we can't cross because of who we are, you know? We just don't offer categories of products like that. But if you move those aside and compare us with our competitors, I think we compare pretty favorably.
And I think this still exists to today. Apple just don't want to ship junk. Not trying to say this phone is junk, because it definitely is not junk. It's a fantastic phone. But they have a standard where if second that quality sort of comes out of range, they know they failed. They do not want to push their phones to the absolute limit, what you could actually do, because they know that the users are going to feedback, oh, it's not that good when I push up to this level, and I'm not enjoying my actual experience with the phone. And they know this. Whereas, like I say, Galaxy, Samsung, they push their phones to the limits, and they know that their users are going to get the best of the best inside it. So what we have here is the best of the newest technology, and what we have inside this phone is kind of the average person would enjoy this kind of capabilities, and it's polished perfectly. And that is exactly what Apple have done here with their 5 times zoom, and why we don't have, say, the likes of, say, a 10 times zoom inside of it, because they don't want to push those boundaries just yet until they fully have perfected it to be absolutely perfect, or even better than what we have, say, with this phone right here. And like I say, guys, this is my reasons why I don't believe we have a 10 times zoom or 100 times digital zoom inside an iPhone. We may get it one day. Is it going to happen next year or the year after? I think it's going to be very, very doubtful, because at the end of the day, we need to get that perfection in place first. I do believe that 6x zoom, or maybe even a 7x optical zoom, may be only a few years away on this phone. But as I say again, Apple know that traditionally, if you want to go up to that 100x zoom, 50x zoom, they know that this phone is not going to be able to do that, and you'd go and buy yourself a DSLR with a telephoto. Whereas with Samsung's approach, we can give you that ability because we're all in there, giving you all of that technology, all ready to go. But at the end of the day, you know, you're not going to get the same kind of photos that you're going to get out of a DSLR at say 100x zoom or 50x zoom with that kind of kit. So yeah, that's how they know this. But at the same time, guys, I would love to know your thoughts. Why do you think the Apple decided not to put a 5x or even a 10x zoom into their phone? Do you think it's because of money? Do you think it's another reason? Let me know in the comments below. And also at the same time as well, if you've enjoyed watching this video, please also make sure you press the like button. And as always, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I will see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.